not until now that I'm learning to give myself permission to, whether it's sing or create or like speak. I'm part of another group where like I do like motivational calls and stuff like that. And then also on the flip side, I'm a creative where started a photography business, also help people with like their short videos. I'm on YouTube. So there's a bunch of creative skills that I'm giving myself permission. Don't get me wrong. One of the things that I used to do was hide. I'll start something, hide. And if there's too much feedback, and the feedback is good, there's nothing wrong with the feedback. It was the attention that I was getting. I didn't like it, made me feel uncomfortable. That's what it was. But this is the norm. Once you start accepting yourself, accepting all parts of who you are, you can truly love yourself. You can truly accept yourself, and you will no longer accept rubbish into your life. You will no longer accept trash into your life simply because of the standards and the boundaries that you set, and you start loving yourself. And then you start seeing yourself, you start reconnecting with yourself. Now there's space for that inner child that didn't have the love. And sorry to go back onto like the past and inner child stuff, but it all relates. So the problems that you're having with like when it comes to relationships, man, woman, whatever the case is, it comes back down to how do you view yourself? How do you love yourself? Who are you? Because if you are accepting a certain thing, it isn't the person, it's something that's in you. So yeah, I won't ramble on too much.
I love that. Just to also to I guess to bring in an image as well. Now you've got the opportunity to, like you said, give yourself permission to be able to explore your creativity. How has that impacted your relationship in your marriage?
Right. My partner's sitting next to me. So he just sat up.
We need to come to the mic, okay?
I hear it.
we need him to come to the mic, okay?
You know what? I'll pass it. I'll let him answer because he'll give you the honest, rawest, and true answer. Hold on. This is Ellis.
Hi there. How's it impacted the marriage? I think it's been quite difficult in certain instances because I've come obviously from a background where I was the opposite. I got to do everything when I was a child, and I got to experience everything. So,
he's also the youngest born. So it's yeah.
Yeah. So there are challenges. I think I did watch your live in the unconditional loving of women, and it is challenging, but that you have to. You really have to have an avenue of patience, an avenue of actually wanting to pour into that person. And I would mainly say understanding. You have to have a deeper level of understanding because at the beginning, certain things she was doing, I'm like, I didn't get it. I'm like, ooh. But then I really had to understand the whole journey of where she's come from, how she was as a child, what was affecting her. And really, it has widen my understanding of someone coming from that kind of background. What you kind of have to what's the word? You kind of have to get given a chance because at the end of the day you're married, and you've got to look at the bigger picture that everything that you're pouring that person will become, but you just have to allow and give the opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong. Certain things are frustrating. Certain things at certain stages you won't get, but then that's where you got to take a step back and go back and understand that person's journey, where they're coming from. Because according to my journey, I wouldn't get it normally, and if I didn't have a wider understanding, there's times I would have been frustrated, and there's times that I would have just been annoyed. But I really had to understand I have to give that opportunity. So, but everything she goes through, it's only going to roll onto my kids, and then my kids are going to be able to see it because she's able to accept her inner self and be able to do the things that she thrives in. So it's been very interesting. It's a journey. Don't get me wrong. We haven't finished the journey yet. We're still on it. But yeah, there's always surprises. But as a man, I feel like obviously I know my role is to lead and to take care of what needs to be taken care of. And in terms of what my missus needs to do, I really need to understand that whenever a situation arises, and because I'm a person, I think when something arises I don't understand in that moment, I really got to understand in this moment I'm emotional. Maybe I'm angry. Maybe I'm annoyed because I don't get it. What I have to do, I have to take a step back. It could be 10 minutes or whatever. I really have to come out of that emotional space and speak to myself and understand what is it that's causing me to be emotional, to be angry. And actually, is it something worth being angry about? Because if I was in that situation, wouldn't I want someone else to give me that opportunity? So, yeah.
I love that thought. Can I ask a question? When did you learn that skill?
Sorry, let me be quiet.
Well, I feel the kind of person I am. I'm just a straight shooter.
Yeah.
I'm a very direct talker, and I really had to understand in marriage. A lot about delivery and how you say things and how you get things across. Because I realize it's not that people can't handle the truth, but it's just like it's about delivery. If you say it in a way, in a certain way, they won't be able to handle it because they're not hearing what you're saying. They're just hearing your tone and hearing the delivery, and they're missing the message. And I think I've always been a person I love to help. Like I love to help people. I love to give the people opportunity, and I also like to go against a stereotype. Now, obviously, someone could say, "Oh, someone that's come from that background of kind of father not being involved, not having the opportunities as a child." If you're looking on paper and logic, what us men really adhere to, the outcome you're going to think, that person's going to be broken. They're not maybe really going to do well. They're not going to excel. But really, that's not the real truth. If you actually give the opportunity and pour into that person, you're just going to watch that flower blossom. But you have to be able to have another level of patience because also remember, we've got children. So not only I have to have patience for my missus, but now I have to have patience for dealing with kids and babies and things that are happening. To me, I'm thinking, why are these things happening? It's the norm for me is just to get on and do. But again, it's from the background that I've come from, and also I think being a man, I know that there is no alternative. I have to take control. There's no word. There's no space to kind of there's no space to kind of say, oh, this is not on or whatever. At the end of the day, there's got to be a solution. And like I said, because us men work on logic and there has to be a solution any time a situation arises. I think I've just grown it into, because when you asked back to what you said, when you asked me, where did I learn that skill? I think I just grew into learning. I don't know how else to explain it because I'm a person that when a situation happens and I react, before I react, I do a self-assessment of myself. So when I was younger, I used to be very kind of probably hot-headed, kind of quick-tempered. And the frustrating thing about that is I always used to act. And then afterwards, I'll regret my act because I acted in a moment and out of emotion. So as I've grown, I've realized to do the reverse. So when something happens, happens, rather than react, I take that time to understand I'm emotional, come in that emotional space, and then do assessment of the situation. And I'll question myself: am I angry? Am I right to be angry? How am I feeling? How do I deal with this feeling without burdening my partner? And once all those things are out of the way, I find it quite easy just to get on with what the situation is. So, yeah.
My last question before I hand it back to our sis. So that, because obviously, I guess I'm jumping ahead of next week, but how easy is it to accommodate yourself, a safe space for you emotionally, though? You know, as men, we struggle. This part we struggle.
Someone's sitting up now.
You're gonna have us.
No.
You're gonna have me laughing today. My brother said, "Oh, wait, hold on now."
You know what it is?
Hold up.
I think my missus sometimes have to remind me that I'm a human being and I have emotions, because in my head, and we have this conversation regularly. I always turn around and say to her, listen, I'm the man. I have to get onto it. I have to deal with whatever I need to deal with, because at the end of the day, for example, if we lose everything, if we lose the house, if we lose everything that we have, as a man, as the leader, the eyes come back to me. And at the end of the day, if I'm the man, I'm the leader, and you're allowing me to lead, then really, when it comes to emotions, I think we had a deeper discussion about this the other day about I get up and I go to work every day. I can't get up one day and say, oh, I'm feeling emotional. I don't really want to go to work. I have to get on and do. And sometimes with getting on and do, sometimes you're missing that emotional space. And then sometimes it's just a conversation with my partner where she'll have to sit down and ask me intricate questions. And then that's probably when I open up and be emotional and say what I'm really feeling and what I'm going through. But then after that conversation, really, I know that tomorrow I have to get out and go and face the big bad world. So, and I think when I look at my childhood, I feel I'm really grateful to how my mum is, because my mum she's kind of a no-nonsense straight shooter, and that's kind of rubbed on to me in terms of like, just go out there and deal with whatever you need to deal with. I grew up with my mum and dad, but my dad's quite probably introvert, probably quite quiet. My mum's quite out there. So getting that from her, I think I just learned the skill of just going out and just having to do what you have to do. Don't get me wrong, as a man, it's tough, because men, you're not allowed to feel emotional. You're not allowed to do this. Certain conversations, if you have as a man, it's almost as a weakness. But really, what most people look at as a weakness in a man is actually a strength. If you're actually to open up emotionally and have deep emotional intelligence and be able to navigate through your emotions and still go out and face what you need to face, that's really what a real man is, as opposed to, a real man can't cry and things like that. If you have a partner where you feel comfortable in doing that around, that's a bonus, because when you go out there and you put that mask on and you go to work, you earn that money, when you come home now, you're in your safe emotional space where now you can sit down with your partner and unfold everything that you want to unfold to that partner. And then tomorrow you go out and you do the same. So, yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate Ernest. Honestly, it's good to hear perspectives where people who are married, and we got to have both of you as well, because it helps us to be able to understand from your perspective, the simultaneous dualistic things that are happening, right? Because a lot of us we got one side, right? So it's good to have both of you at the same time, kind of give us perspective as well. Let me bring my sister back in and say, sis, so from your perspective, as you're on your journey, and like I said, you are now giving yourself permission to really be able to search for what you want, what your needs are, as well. I want to know from your perspective, how did that open up the relationship to you, the marriage to you? Because now your vision is going to change, right? Because obviously you had an angle you looked at it beforehand. Now you're looking at it from a different perspective, because obviously now you've kind of, you've expanded your knowledge about self. How does that change your approach then to the relationship?
It allows me to come in a bit more authentic, more honest, more true, more me, as opposed to thinking about the other person, because I probably had a different perspective prior. That's because we got married and had kids in a very short space of time. So I've seen my mum be the single parent, so I haven't had a proper role model to be like, okay, this is how to be a wife, if that makes sense. So I had to unsee what I've seen growing up quickly, because I say quickly, it took me a while to unlearn those things, because of Disney, it's a lie from hell. It ain't it. It's not it. So I had to let go of let go of what society has told us, let go of what I've seen from my mum, let go of anything, any hidden agendas or whatever, and be honest and be truthful and just come with what I need to say or what I'm feeling. And again, holding space for myself, because more time I'll hold space for the other person. But being able to know, set boundaries and say what you want, say what you need, regardless of how they might feel. Because again, if you're a people pleaser or an empath, you feel a lot, and it's about keeping. I've learned now to stay more in my frame, stay more in me, as opposed to, okay, oh, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that, I'm hearing this. And I do coaching as well, so I understand people's like feelings and mindsets very, very quickly, and I can feel with them. But however, I need to have boundaries. So in this relationship, I've learned to more so to stay in my frame and catch myself if I'm ever trying to do too much, because there's the unspoken rules where I've got unspoken rules. He probably has had unspoken rules, so I've been following the unspoken rules. Meanwhile, that's not what he needs, and vice versa. That's not what I need, and it's bringing negativity, because proper communication and dialogue isn't being had, just in regards to, okay, this is what I need, this is what I deserve, in regards to more so me and my partner. He's very more vocal in regards to what he needs, but for me, I struggled with the empath. Oh, I need to be empathetic, but hold on, I need to say my needs. So it was just finding that balance now to, okay, yeah, hold space for empathy and understand where that person's coming from, but hold space for you first and foremost. You are the priority. In order for you to express yourself and be your fullest self and be unashamed and be a role model for like my kids, I have to be me first, because if not, they will copy and paste what I'm doing and then repeat the same cycle from what my mum had, and become, whether it's people pleasers or empaths, or trying to seek love in the wrong places, or not fully saying what you need, but you're saying it indirectly. That's where, codependency and stuff like that can come into play. And that is yeah, that's a whole another shamble of a thing. But, codependency, you have to, do the work to stay in your frame, to set boundaries, to love on yourself, to give yourself permission to own your identity, because more time you are owning other people's identity of what you think, what you think they expect of you, and not falling into that trap that, okay, I must commit myself to everything else of what the person needs from me, because I'm chasing love, like prior. So I'm going off topic, but because I'm chasing love prior, I would not get the things that I want, because I'm not saying what I need. So it's about saying what you need first, being clear, being transparent, knowing that if you don't like what I'm saying, cool, that's on you. Me and my mum, we've had certain conversations about me being honest in regards to my feelings. She couldn't hack it, but I had to learn, okay, she ain't ready. She's not ready for that type of conversation. And I can't force certain people into my healing journey, even like my siblings. I can't force them onto my healing journey. I am healing. I'm doing the generational, cycles, breaking the patterns. So I have to do the work. I can't force anyone, but the only thing that I can do is just take ownership for me, and then everything else will take impact. The right people will surround me. Like my stories, like as I've been like sharing more, like, even in regards to following my purpose and, owning my voice, I realized, wow, I've been through some stuff and I'm releasing it out now, and I'm able to, like, help other people release themselves and just take permission and own who you are. Yeah.
Listen, you're spitting right now, and I appreciate it as well, because I think it's, again, you guys are giving us such a elevated perspective. We are trying to achieve the goal of being married, and so when you are in that space of being married and able to give us some light, real time as well, in terms of how you guys are navigating challenges as well, it's very powerful, very, very powerful. And I'm not married myself, but I'm taking in the information so that when I'm ready for it, because I think what you're giving is some complete gems And even just how you guys spoke about even navigating that space in real time. It's not so smooth. It's not like, I think that's something for the audience too, like to know that your journey of even you healing and growing, it's not going to be so smooth that somebody's going to be like, yeah, we just accept everything. Sometimes people are just like, that don't make no sense to us. So,
And sometimes I've had to do like cry, do my own stuff by myself, and then come back. Or don't get me wrong, he'll have space, but then you can't force someone into your healing space. You got to heal for you, and then they'll love more of you as you start showing up. Something that I thought he was going to mention, but he didn't mention. But I'm going to mention it. Like as I've been like doing more stuff and like showing up, like it's like changed the dynamics where there's like, more love because I'm loving on me. I'm expressing what God has placed in me. Where there's more love, love will grow, love grow. If there's hate and you don't love on yourself, there's a likelihood you are not going to have more love. You're going to be attracting the opposite. So it's been a journey of, really loving on me and expressing myself. Like he's seen changes where, it's brought more juicy, more spice, more tenderness. more
the most.
But it all comes back down to stop it. It all comes back down to love, and this is God. Like God's design is love. That's the main core of it all. Whether you're married or not, whether like you are single or whatever, it all comes back down to love. Like love will transpire through everything and to anyone, and it heals. It brings life and all of that kind of stuff. So love has to be at the forefront, the center when you're going in. Like it has to be all around the house, and safety, making sure that there's safety in the relationship, because there's always going to be different avenues of your person where they'll be exposed to certain things or heard about certain things, and you're going to be thinking, wow, is it that deep? Even when Ellis, when it comes to him like expressing himself, I've learnt to not take things personal, because I hear it, like what he said, because I hear his tone first. As females, we tend to hear the tone before all of the delivery. The tone can impact what I'm receiving. So I will either, shut down, go into fearful avoidant, or go into, what was the other one, fearful...
No, you're right, fearful avoidant, because you can have both reactions. You can have both anxious and avoidance.
Yes, there we go. And anxious, and where I start even thinking, oh my gosh, is it me? Is it? Oh, what did I do? Oh my gosh, I need to go and fix. I need to fix. Give. No. So cut it. Love on yourself. That's yeah.
It's so powerful as well, because I think, I obviously I coach a lot of people, and when I'm coaching them, the predominant seems to be women that are either anxious or fearful of avoidant. You meet less dismissive avoidant women. And it's really interesting because with fearful avoidant women, because they hold both sides, right? You're right, tone is very important. Tone is probably one of the biggest things I've noticed with them. Having dealt with, I think my ex is probably fearful avoidant when I look at it. And I'm more DA. So as a DA, probably, this might be on the same wavelength. We just want to get it done. Like I just need to, like I hear it, but just get it done. You know what I mean? Like me saying it soft, it's not going to change the fact they still need to get done. That's what I'm saying to you. And sometimes I don't realize how I come off. So I can either be very blunt or very black and white. And sometimes I can be very condescending. So it's like, it's not because I'm trying to be, but that's how I can come across. And sometimes you don't realize, and I think one of the girls I was talking to, kind of took me through this journey where I had to learn some things, and God had to make me kind of see some things. Like when she would turn to me, she's like, the way you say that, I'm trying to hear you, but all I hear is the tone. I'm like, how are you only hearing a tone? Because that means you heard something. So can you but she was trying to tell me that she wants to hear what I'm saying, but the delivery, and she said to me, there's an art to delivery, and I just feel like you're not delivering it right. Yes. Right, and I thought, for me as a man, I'm like, what do you mean? Like you just want to hear it. Your first thought is to kind of combat that. You just want to hear it. If I say it, what do you want to say it soft for? But you don't realize that it's like, I think Ellis was kind of saying, the input of you're inputting. The Bible grants a man to be the head, but the head means you are also feeding the body. So you're responsible for how the body is. So if I'm feeding you, I've got to look at the way I'm delivering something to someone. So that is a very important part. But especially if you're dealing with someone who's fearful avoidant, the fearful part is the reason why it's called fearful avoidant is because the fear comes in, and you do have to be able to curate your message now even more so than other people, because the mind goes into overthinking. So when a message is delivered, the mind goes into overthinking, like you said. You get the anxious and then you get the fearful. And I think when I was talking to the girl that I was talking to at the time, the one thing that I'll be like, something might happen and she might apologize really, really quickly. And I'll be like, what are you apologizing for? She's like, no, because obviously you did it. And I'm like, no one's going anywhere. I don't need to apologize. And sometimes that fearfulness will make you want to apologize for things that are not even happening. But because you're afraid of the situation even going this way. And so you start to realize you have to give each other grace. And I just saw an image in my head of, as a man especially, you have to be ready to expand, because the people are going to grow. And that expansion keeps you safe, but it also allows for people to also grow who they need to become. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So yeah, I was just hearing expand, be ready to expand. And I think as a dismissal avoidant, we like consistency. So when things start changing, yeah, it starts throwing man off. Because what do you mean? You're always blue, so why are we going red? Like, what's really happening? Our instincts start to straight away kick off. But I like consistency. Why are you going from blue to red? And then sometimes with fearful avoidance, fearful avoidance and DAs get into a cycle, because if for the DA, we want consistency. But the FA, their biggest thing is that they're not consistent, because in their brain, it's not consistent, because sometimes I am anxious and sometimes I'm avoidant. So that then becomes a cycle where now you get stuck, because sometimes you might overthink, because now you've heard the DA say something and you're like, okay, now I don't want to be inconsistent, but now you're not talking at all. So now I'm like, what do I do that? Because now you ain't talking at all. And so the cycle just gets into these things where the fears start to trigger each other. Like the DA fear is rejection. So sometimes even your silence can be rejection, because it's like, I'm talking to you and you're like, you don't want to say anything. Have I done something? And you're telling me you haven't done anything. But then maybe I have done something, but then I haven't done something. But really it's just because you're processing, you're trying to think. And then we can read that as rejection. So now I'm going to go to my avoidance. Now you're going to read that as me trying to abandon you. So now you're clinging to me. But then now you cling to me and you've got me. Now you're vexed because you're resentful for the fact that you had to come and cling to me. It just becomes a wild thing, I tell you.
You are spot on. But there's healing, there's hope.
It's wild.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Oh, sorry, Ellis.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to say something. I think based on what you just said as well, it's just like, growing up in an African household, there's certain things that my dad would just give me the look. Well, I know, okay, I'm in trouble, I know. And what I realize in a relationship is that how my missus is, certain things where we've had certain conversations or how I used to be, she could know, okay, she maybe hasn't fulfilled something or hasn't done something. And even when I come into the house, I don't even give the look, but I know she's already fearful of what my response is going to be. And it's like, but my response is not going to be what she thinks it's going to be.
Yeah.
So she's already preempted and made this whole plan in the head of he's going to be like this, and then I have to come on a level, because I've seen she's acting and behaving like that. Now, intentional, I more have to come on a level of gentle speaking and living. And sometimes I make a joke that's like, oh, it's just like having another child. But I'll be honest, any men that is on this live or that's listening, and you have to have a lot of patience. And it's not like how you, like, we've got kids. So from that kind of helps me, because how I am with my kids, I kind of have to, it's kind of...
Patience has to be the same way.
Sorry?
The patience has to be the same way. You've got to have the same kind of patience.
Exactly. It has to be the same way. So certain times where I know there's something that she's done and I've got to remember, don't blow off.
Yep.
Maybe go for a walk and come and deliver the right way, because she's expecting me to blow off. So she's already now fearful now. And I can even tell by her movements, I'm thinking like, what are you doing? Why are you walking around? Why are you pretending like you're washing like that? You're doing all these things to distract yourself. It's like, it's cool. Come and sit down. I'm not going to come at that level. And I have to, and then when we have the conversation, I can just see it's almost like a weight lifted off her shoulders, because it's like, okay, so he didn't come at me like that. So it's just a thing. Like I just want to mention that in the light of when you're with someone that's been through those experiences and you understand the childhood, you really have to have an emotional safe space of patience. And when you see your missus acting like that way, as the man, as the leader, it's very easy to come and shout. "Duh, duh, 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 duh." But again, also what I'm learning is, you know, like you said, as men, we just want to get things done. And you might say something like how I'm speaking to you, but another woman might see how you're speaking, and for her, it might make her fearful. And because of that fearfulness, she's not hearing a word you're saying. So sometimes you just have to, okay, put a pin in it. We'll revisit this conversation. Then I have to now, and this is what I think I'm quite good at. I'll now go and assess myself. What is the best way to, what is the best way to come across? How does she feel comfortable? So I'll look at things around the conversation to make it feel comfortable. So I might come in from work and I might do dinner. I might take over the kids and I might let her get a little 5 minutes, little breather, a little break. And all of that comes back to the conversation, because I'm preparing the surrounding, I'm preparing the space, I'm preparing. So now when a conversation comes, there's nothing for her to look around and feel fearful about. And so I feel like it's my job to make her safe. She's in, like, I'm the head of the house and I've got to look after her, and she can't be fearful in my surroundings. As much as I think like, okay, I am making her feel safe, but again, I have to be really observant on her behavior, because like she said, where she's come from is it hasn't been a place where she's learned how to speak up all the time. So sometimes she's not speaking up, and I'm seeing her zipping about, doing this, doing that with the kids, and then certain time I have to come and say, look, just take a minute, sit down.
Speak on this.
Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing 101? You're doing the most. Just come and sit down, just chill for a minute. And when you take over that role and do those things, you come back and you just see, it just changes the whole dynamics of what the afternoon, what the whole week could be like, just because you've reminded her to take a break. Because I feel like as women's mind just constantly ticking. And sometimes they just don't know how to catch themselves, take a break. And if they don't do that, then it gets to the end of the day, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling shut down, they're feeling overrun, and now they're acting not like themselves. So as men, we really, really got to be observant as men and pay attention to where it might be body language, where when they're talking or when they're not talking. We have to know our partners to the point where even if they don't talk, you really know what's going on inside.
Well, you know what's so funny, especially because the fearful DA dynamic is really my thing. So, and what you just said is so funny, because that's the story of the girl that I was talking to. That same thing happened. Like I always tell the story that she literally came from church, and the first thing she started doing was trying to clean and cook. And I said, "What's wrong with you? No greeting, nothing, just straight into cooking and cleaning." Darling, can you relax? Like, I was like, wait. I said to her, listen, chill. No, I gotta cook. I've got to do this. I got to do that. I said, hey, you just got in from church. Relax. Do yourself 5 minutes. No, I can't. I've got to do something. I've got so many things to do. I literally told her, listen, sit down. Because one thing I know about fearful avoidance is that a lot of their value comes from moving, not from being still. Because again, for them, the anxious side of them always is playing a role. It's like I have to be doing something, and then they feel good, but they don't realize that just be is also value. Just to be present, and I know that's what I was talking about actually as well. Just to be present and not have to do anything is also value.
Yeah.
So the same thing that you said, bro, I said the exact same thing to her. I said, and it's so funny, if you tell them to sit down for 5 minutes, not do anything, they start itching like a crackhead. I can't do anything. Their body starts itching because they're so used to doing stuff. But I love what you said, that, and I think this is a thing that you just said. I want to really package it well for people who are listening, who are looking for a good partner. What you just said is part of what I call emotional protection. When we talk about men protecting women, that is what I'm talking about. That is what you did. You started seeing that she needs a break. And in order for her to be at her best, this needed to be instituted. So yes, when you told her to, hey, rest, sit down 5 minutes, whatever, take a break for a few minutes, let me handle a few things, I got you, right? That was emotional protection. It's proactively you protecting her so she can also be able to recover and actually be at herself. Because if you don't, like you said, women will run themselves into the ground And I always say this. My dad always told me this: the women will they'll run the thing to the ground, and then they'll look at you and say,
Blame me. 100. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
"So be active."
Yeah. And in that I just want to add, in that situation as well, if you tell them to sit down and it's, oh no, I need to do this, sometimes it's just like, babe, look at me, get their attention, and just give them a hug. And just hold on to them.
Hold on to them.
They want it.
This is a brother that knows. You've been in the trenches, you can tell. Go on,
Yeah,
sir.
and that's done it for me. So I just want to share with people. Like sometimes it's just because that hug for me, it it releases so much inside of them that they don't even realize that when they take a moment to realize they're in that moment, it's just like a deep breath, and then they get what you're saying. Oh, okay, all right. You know what? I'll just sit down for a little 2 minutes. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that physical touch, it does play a huge role, because sometimes if we weren't fully held or growing up at certain points, like for me, and speaking of experience, if we weren't held in a particular way, or embraced in a particular way, our mind doesn't recognize when we need to slow down, because we're just like, okay, keep going, because intimacy isn't coming, or there's certain hugs or certain intimate moments aren't going to come because I didn't have it in childhood. But you have to remember, wait, hold on, I need to take time for me. I've done the most. I can appreciate myself, celebrate myself, all of that kind of stuff.